Alright, I got a treat for you guys this week. I'm talking about how to be the man. I know we talk about basketball here, but my overall theme is to be bigger than life. So it's not just for number one guy on the basketball team. This is bigger than that. This is how to handle being the man of the family, being the man of a business, being whatever it's called to being in a leadership position. Even if you're not the top dog and the top man, being the man within your role. So first step into understanding this is to know, are you the man? So when I say this, you need to know your role and to know when you're called upon, how to act in that role. The second part is to ID your role within that. So if you're the shooter, know that you're the shooter. And when it's time for us to need a bucket, that's when you know you're the man. Your name is called, your position is called, step up into that role and execute it. Step number 2 is to prepare for it. There's 2 parts for your preparation. You have to mentally prepare and know what's required for you on a daily basis or game by game, practice by practice. Now, how do you do that? Is by practicing meditation and by visualization. Knowing what your coach needs you to do, knowing what your leader needs you to do, and by mentally taking yourself through those steps and visualizing you going through that routine. The second part of it is physically training for those moments and those situations. You know you're going to take this shot at the end of the game, so go ahead and play that game we all did growing up. Count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you take that game-winning shot and you play it over and over again. You know you're going to take that pull-up 3, so you practice it over and over again. You're going to hit that AR crossover, then practice that move in that situation. You physically take yourself through those moves, prepare yourself for it. Preparing for a big speech, go ahead and practice those lines over and over again. So by the time you have to give that speech, you physically have done it more than that one time. So part number 3 of how to be the man. Seek advice and get some guidance and help from people who have done it before. Find others who have been in that role or a similar role to it. That's the easiest way to get over some of these hurdles that you would trip over from your inexperience. You're a player, go to your coach and see, how do you execute that role? Get guidance on how I should best execute it and how I can make sure that I contribute to the team overall. Next is to know you can't do it by yourself. So just because you play your role doesn't mean that's the end of the game. You have to hold others accountable for their role too. So like I said before, if you're the shooter, it's not your job to be the ball handler and the defensive player and to be the rebounder and to be the coach and to be the GM. It's impossible for you to execute on all these roles. So you have to know your role, know where you function best at. If you're in a business, you can't be the front service clerk, you can't be the hostess, and you can't be the waiter, and you can't be the chef. You have to execute on your role and your role only, and let everybody else do what they have to do. To be the best team player, be the man in your role. The 4th step is to accept that you will fail. I know nobody likes to, nobody wants to plan for failure, but once you go ahead and get it in your head that you will fail, it's a lot easier to take that hit. But the number one key for this is to not look at it as failure. Look at it as a lesson to learn from. So yeah, you missed that shot, but now you have to figure out, why'd you miss it? What made you miss it? Was it you taking the bad shot? Was it you rushing your shot? Or was it just good defense? Was it a bad play? So once you start figuring out how to learn from those, it becomes a lesson, something as a teaching moment rather than just a failure. And the last step is to take away all the pressure from that moment. Don't look at it as pressure. Look at it as an honor and a privilege to be in that moment, to be in that position. When you take away that pressure from it and you look at it as this huge daunting task and you strip it down to being like, man, I get the privilege of being the guy to take this shot. They trust me enough to take this shot. They trust me enough to put this responsibility on me. Once you switch your mindset and get a perspective of that, that's a game changer for you. So it takes all that pressure away and makes your job a lot easier. So that's how you become a man. That's how you become the man for whatever role and whatever position you're in. Same thing for my women, how to be that woman in your role. So running back through it real quick, number 1 is, are you the man? You have to identify your role. Number 2 is prepare for that moment in that position. Number 3 is to seek help and get guidance on it. Number 4 is to accept that you will fail, but not just failure, but take it as lessons. And number 5 is to not look at it as pressure, but strip it down, look at it as a positive opportunity for you to grow and learn from. So I appreciate you guys listening in to me. It's another week, another episode down. So make sure that you guys go back and listen to the old episodes that we have already up. We have new ones dropping every week. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast on YouTube. Make sure you guys listen to us on Google Playlists, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you get your podcasts to. Make sure you follow us on social media. Follow me at BeBall Jones, BeBall Jones on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Follow my boy Nelson Haskin on Twitter at NellyH34. Follow him on Facebook. He always doing some great discussions and dialogue around the game of basketball. Got some good debates going on too. So if you want to get your hot takes off, go follow him and bring some good conversations over there to him. All right, so another week down, another great episode. Thank you for listening. Have a good one.